Hi friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. So in this short episode, I'm going to tell you what are the ways to buy and sell gold and silver products using the Gold Accumulation Program or GAP in short. So this is the thing that is going to be a bit technical in this video. So if you're interested to know how to get these things done using the GAP portal, let's get started. Okay, hi once again. So in this video, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to tell you or briefly go through the steps by steps involved in buying and selling the gold and silver products using the Gold Accumulation Program. So let's get into it in first by doing how to buy these gold and silver products using the Gold Accumulation Program or GAP in short. So, Gold Accumulation Program, as the name implies, is basically a program where you are trying to save a portion of our savings in the form of gold. So, in the previous video, I spoke about why this is can be a good strategy because we know that in the long term, the price of gold is always appreciates. So, by converting a portion of our savings in the form of gold, we can potentially ride the momentum of the bull run or the appreciation of the gold price in the long term. So here, by converting as little as 100 ringgit into the form of gold, we can get these grams of gold accumulated in our GAP portal, in our GAP account. So previously, I mentioned about how a GAP accumulation program is Sharia compliant. And when speaking about Sharia compliant, I spoke about how having that physical backing of gold is one of the major components in driving this Sharia compliance. But there are actually more components to it. So if you remember the certificates that I showed you earlier, apart from talking about that physical backing of gold, the scrutiny or the details which looked into at includes the buying and selling of the gold products, the easy payment purchase that they provide, and all the other related processes. So after taking into account all these processes, that's when the Sharia compliance certificate was granted to Public Gold. And out of the products that Public Gold offers, Gold Accumulation Program is one of them. So this Gold Accumulation Program is also Sharia compliant after taking into account all these components which I mentioned earlier. So now, by having a portion of our savings in the form of gold and we keep it for the long term, right? So now there will be a time where you want to start buying on your own and you are also wanted to know, okay, now after I make this conversion from ringgit into gold, there will be a time where I want to convert back that gram into ringgit. So how to go about with that? So that is why I came up with this video to tell you the step-by-step involved for this particular purpose. So again, this is just to give a brief summary of what GAP is all about. And like I mentioned earlier, GAP is Gold Accumulation Program where you can start as little as 100 ringgit, and every time you convert or when you deposit 100 ringgit into your GAP account, it gets converted to grams up to 4 decimal places. And one advantage of having a portion of our savings in the form of GAP account is that there is no monthly or annual fee involved by doing or taking part of this program. And the strategy that I was talking to you, or the strategy which you can take advantage by using this account, is that by using dollar cost averaging. So again, what does this mean? So this means that by consistently depositing a consistent amount of money, let's say 100 ringgit. So just by consistently depositing 100 ringgit month after month, so what eventually happens is that every month when you deposit this amount, it gets converted into gram, and this gram will be kept into your account until you decide to sell it back to Public Gold. So just by consistently doing this particular strategy, there is no need of you to look at uh, the gold price, or to do any technical analysis, or to do any additional homework just to know when to buy or when to sell, because this dollar cost averaging is a very straightforward method. Is a no-brainer approach because there is no need for you to do any analysis or any charting or any things of like that, because it's just the formula is very simple. Every month consistently deposit 100 ringgit into the GAP account. That's it. Okay, so this is something that all of us can do, and by using this approach we can actually ride the momentum of the gold price in the long term. And there'll be a time where you want to physically withdraw, this gap account whereby you want to withdraw these grams of gold in the form of physical, and you can always do so. But in order for you to do that, you need to have 1 gram of gold balance in the account before you could do that. So it means that if you want to withdraw 1 gram of gold from your gap account, so you have to make sure that you have at least 2 grams of gold in your gap account. That's when you can withdraw at least 1 gram. Otherwise, let's say if you have less than 1 gram and you decide to withdraw all of them, that means you are terminating your account. So unless you want to terminate your account, then that is fine. But if you want to withdraw a portion of your gold in the form of physical, so it is highly recommended to have at least 2 grams of gold in your gap account before you proceed with withdrawing grams of gold at least by 1 gram, right? So this is where we are going to do the actual thing where on how can we top up the gap account by using your public gold portal. So if you look at the slide over here, basically this is the screenshot taken. This is actually my portal. So after you log in with your gap account, you can see that you have these two pictures over here. One is the picture of gold and the other one is the picture of silver. And you can see that this is a screenshot taken on the December 23rd 2020, and on that day 100 ringgit is equivalent to 0.3731 gram, and if I want to buy 1 gram of gold, it's going to cost me 268 ringgit, right? And for silver, if you look at it, 100 ringgit will give me 24.3309 gram of silver, and if I want to buy 100 grams of silver, it's going to cost me 411 ringgit, right? So whatever purchase that you make is going to be reflected over here. So at this on the date on the 23rd December 2020, I have about 5.6 gram of gold and 100 grams of silver in my gap account. So now today I decide I want to top up 150 ringgit in my gap account. So what you can do, you have to click on the buy gap now. So after clicking buy gap now, you will come to this page where it will ask you whether you want to pay by online FPX way of transferring the amount, or you want to use a banking approach. So let's say for instance I want to go about with pay online method. So after I click pay online method, it will bring me to this page where it will ask me whether do I want to top up my gap account or my SAP account, which is the Silver Accumulation Program, which is the same concept as gold, but instead of saving in the form of gold, will be saving in the form of silver. So it's the same concept but different precious metals. Okay, so let's say for today I decided to top up my gap account by 150 ringgit. So I key in 150 ringgit, and based on the amount over here, my 150 ringgit will be converted into 0.5597 gram. So this will be basically is the same. That is, you can counter check if you want to, but for me I know this is accurate. So you can see that my 150 ringgit gets converted up to 4 decimal places. So once I'm happy, I just click place order. So what will happen is that it will bring me to the next page where it will give me a confirmation page to say that, okay Naresh, today you decide to purchase your gap account and you want to deposit 150 ringgit, and 150 ringgit will give you 0.5597 gram, and the mode of payment that you have selected is pay by online or the FPX method. So if you're happy or if you're okay, then you just make payment, just click on the make payment, and the next thing what happen is that it will actually lead you to this page where it will ask you which bank you want to proceed to make the transaction. So I'm going to use Alliance Bank for this particular transaction. So once I choose Alliance Bank, I then proceed with clicking proceed and pay. So it will bring me to my Alliance Bank portal, and then once I choose my my savings account, and then I choose the savings account, and then I'm going to say okay, I'm happy with this, and then I click on next. So once I click next, it will I will again it's just another confirmation step saying that okay Naresh, you're going to make this transaction 150 ringgit to Public Gold Marketing Sdn Berhad, and you're going to transfer 150 ringgit. So once you're happy with the transaction, you just click proceed. So what's going to happen is that your transaction has been successful. So I highly recommend you to save this transaction as proof, because usually it's always good to keep a transaction record of this particular purchase just for your own record. right? So usually I will just keep this as a receipt onto my laptop, and then I will just keep it aside. And then what's going to happen is that you can just click back to GSAP portal, which is the Gold or Silver Accumulation Program portal. So once you click onto it, you will lead you back to this page where it's going to tell you, okay, the payment has been completed successfully. So meaning you have successfully transferred 150 ringgit into your Gap account, right? Earlier I mentioned to you that I did this transaction on the 23rd of December, right? So today on the 25th December, if you look at it again, on this particular day, 100 ringgit will give me 3717, and 1 gram is 269. But then if you look at over here, earlier I was having about 5 point something, and today I have about 6.2261. So this shows that my Gap account has been updated within 2 days time. Alright, so this is how you can make use of the Gap portal to top up your Gap account. Okay, so earlier we saw how to top up our Gap account using that Gap portal, right? So now after you make your your deposit, so after some time you decided you want to sell off. Okay, you want to sell off a portion of your Gap account for your other purposes, right? So how to go about that? So why do you want to sell Gap? So perhaps you have achieved your particular target. For example, you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car, right? So you want to save for this particular purpose. A few years ago, you decided to transfer a portion of your savings in the form of gold and just let it grow on in the Gap account. All right. So apart from that, maybe for your children's education, you could also make use of the Gap account for that, or maybe for rolling of business capital, for pilgrimage, or even for emergency fund. So for whatever reasons that you have that made you start the Gap account, so there will be a time where you decided to sell off a portion of your Gap account for your purposes, right? So how to do that? So first thing, just like how we did previously, we have to log in into our public gold portal, and once you enter your Gap account portal, you have to click the PG buyback section. So once you click the PG buyback section, it will lead you to the next page. But before we go that, if you look at this PG buyback is taken on the October 1st, 2020. So on October 1st, 2020, 100 gram 100 ringgit, 100 ringgit will give me 0.3610 gram, and 1 gram of gold is equivalent to 277. And on that day, in my Gap account, I have about 5.2847 gram and 100 gram of silver. So let's say, for example, I want to do a buyback of 1 gram of gold. So how to do that, right? So let's go into it. So once you click on the PG buyback section, it will ask you, so which one do you want to do the buyback? So the buyback here means the public gold will buy back from you, right? So that is what it means by PG buyback, right? So you can choose either gold, which is the Gold Accumulation Program, or the silver, which is the Silver Accumulation Program. So for today, I'm going to use the gold, which is the GAP. And once I click on that gold section, and when I key in 1 gram over here, automatically the amount that is reflected will be 254, right? So this is the amount of payment, or the amount of money that public gold will buy back from you. All right, so once you key in this particular info, next thing what you need to do is you place buyback. So once you click place buyback, you will come to a confirmation page saying that, okay, Naresh, now you decided to do the PG buyback, where you want the public gold to buy back 1 gram of gold from you, and based on the amount that the public gold is buying back, they buy back at 254 ringgit, which is what is written over here. And once you are happy, you just click confirm, and next thing you will get this confirmation done. So after this, what's going to happen is that the admin of public gold will contact you to arrange this particular transaction, right? So basically, I was not intended to sell off a portion of my Gap, but rather I just wanted to do this demonstration for you all. So what I did, when the admin contacted me, said that, okay, Naresh, you requested for Gap buyback, do you want to proceed? So that's when I actually told the admin, saying that actually I wanted to test the system, therefore I decided to do this PG buyback. And I actually asked them that when I do this, when I request for this particular buyback, where does this money going to be transferred? Is it to my CIMB account? So the answer given by the admin is yes, the transfer of money will take place to my CIMB account, and it will take about 2 to 3 working days time, right? So uh, so basically what happened, these 2 to 3 working days time will be the time taken by the branch or by the public gold to process the particular transaction. But the price that you lock will be the price that you choose on that particular day. Okay, let's say I did the transaction on the 1st of October, even though the money will come to me on maybe on 2nd or even 3rd of October, but the price that we lock in will be honored based on what we chose on the 1st of October. So this is something that public gold honors whenever we place any transaction with them. All right. So yeah, so that is the a brief introduction on how to buy and how to sell your gold or silver products using the GAP as well as the Silver Accumulation Program portal. So I hope you find this video useful. So if you have any doubts or any questions, please let me know. I will address them accordingly. And for those of you who have not joined my Telegram channel, look for Diversify with Gold in your Telegram, and you can join me in that channel as well. So you can start your gap journey with me. I will show you how to get it started. And if you have any questions or if you have any doubts that you want to address your questions before you begin, you can always contact me and I'll be happy to guide you along. So I hope that you learned something from this video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.